There's a lot of people talking about a lot of fighters out there. I don't see fucking anybody talking about a real American hero by the name of Dan fucking Henderson. I kind of feel bad recording this video right now just for the fact that this man that we're showing right here beat a legend, a hero, another Pride champion, Mauricio Shogun Hua, twice. And Mauricio Shogun Hua just retired. So I guess I should be showing a card of him, showing tribute, but unfortunately instead what I'm doing is I'm showing this bad motherfucker right here, Mr. Dan Henderson. He is a Pride champion in 2 different weight classes. And I'm going to keep this video fast. I'm going to explain to you guys why I bought this card. If you guys don't know who Dan Henderson is, he's beat... I'm going to look back through his record real quick here. He has fought... He beat Carlos Newton. He beat Gilbert Yvel. He beat Antonio Nogueira. He beat Renato Sobera, Babalu Sotabara. He lost to Vanderlei Silva. Then he went on to beat Renzo Gracie and Mauricio Hua, which is Ninja, Shogun's brother. Then he lost to Ricardo Arona, another monster. Then he lost to Antonio Nogueira. Then he has also beaten Mario Bustamante, Ryo Chonin, Akihiro Gono, Bustamante again. He beat Vitor Belfort. He beat Vanderlei Silva. He's beaten Husamar Palhares, Paul Harris, Rich Franklin, Michael Bisping, Renato Sobral again, fucking Fedor. He fucking uppercutted Fedor on the ground to hell. And then after that, in Strikeforce, he uppercutted Fedor to hell. And that's another guy. Fedor's fighting tomorrow, and I'm talking about guys that he's beaten that have just retired or about to retire. As far as Fedor fighting Ryan Bader on Saturday, God bless Fedor. I don't think he's going to do much better against Bader than he did against this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful man, Dan Henderson here. Let's focus. I'm going to get back on track. So, after Dan Henderson beat Fedor Emelianenko in Strikeforce, his first fight back in the UFC, he fights Shogun Hua at UFC 139. And this beautiful mat here is from UFC 139. And this match was an absolute fucking firefight. Dan Henderson came out in the first 2 rounds, and I think he dropped Shogun, I don't know, 3 in the first couple rounds, at least 3 or 4 times, like really bad. But Dan got really tired of punching Shogun in the head, and then in the later rounds, Shogun was able to get the fight to the ground a couple times, and start just really beating the fuck out of Dan on the ground. But if you know Mr. Dan Henderson, he's not going to quit. He's not going to tap from strikes. if you want to choke him out. I don't know if it's happened. I don't think it ever happened. He's going to go out. He's not going to tap. He's not going to give up. And this fight was a bloody fucking war. So if you guys have never seen this fight, from this card that's on this mat right here, piece of history, an important piece of history. Two former Pride fighting champions fighting in the UFC in a main event, fucking putting their lives on the line. This fight probably took at least, I don't think most people understand. A fight like this, you guys should go watch this fight. This probably took a year or two off of these guys' lives. So, for people that don't understand the sacrifice that these fighters make when they step into the ring and they get into fights like these crazy fucking battles, these nasty wars, have some respect for these guys. Go back and watch this fight if you haven't seen it. It's right here. UFC 139. This fight is fucking wild. And this is the reason why people should love the UFC. And I think that fighters that point fight and look to squeak out decisions now in the world that we live in now in the UFC, I think they need to go back and look at these fights and see what real prize fighters did back in the day. That's why I bought this card. Godspeed. Party on. Thanks, guys.